Good morning from New York. Today's topic, finding your inner spiritually progressive self and 6 things you can do to improve your mental health and mind communication. Okay. Um, yeah. You wonder, how do I find my inner self? Well, your inner self is your feeling, your dramatic. And or some people say that the real is your brain, the imaginer of all you imagine. A little sense too, but in general, um, your inner self is your dramatic self. That's the self that grows in empathy and awareness and learns from your inner artist, imaginer of all you imagine. That's the mystic path, the subjective sort of experience, but it's also subjective experience that can learn and grow from so it's all about the love flow, giving and receiving love. And the 6 things that practices that can help with your mental health, ways, and getting in touch with yourself. And there's 2 levels of your dramatic self. There's part of you that has no self-concept. So you run into these kind of experiences like Zen. And there's the more language influenced self, social self. So it's it's about empathy, forms of empathy. What are these forms of empathy? They're ways of communicating that help you meet real human needs more efficiently, better. Means good for your mental health. And this aspect certainly, all of these things can be learned and improved upon. Each one of the practices that are this form of inner mind communication beneficial to your benefit, your health. And you're not something you're not doing without knowing it. If you go into trance watching a movie, go to absorbed in the movie, that's one of the practices that that are involved, where you create your own guided meditation. It's an attempt to love you, and then your response. Trials, stresses that you're going through, and then a response, and create. And that's one of the practices. 6, but you do that when you pick out a nice movie that you like to see and enjoy. You're kind of doing that, with a little extra help from a movie talent. And yeah, so that's good for your health, and watching a good movie that helps you feel better, and it's you know one of the practices that if you do it within your imagination, that's you're you're the movie producer, and that is a creative kind of approach, um, all with creative empathy. Um, Creative empathy helps to meet human need because it allows you to look at things from a lot of different perspectives. And the progressive part of you that wants to grow and progress, um, and that is your inner self wants to grow, and it's only past trauma or stresses that kind of get in the way sometimes. But also, their own way benefit you. It's not overwhelming. It's helplessness around feeling and expressing your needs and meeting the needs of others that gets in the way of the love flow and your mental health. You know, this builds a faith in humanity because who wants to just be on the receiving end? A little important, right? You got to feel like you're giving something back, and and you are. As a child, of course, you're a blessing. Totally, from the beginning, you reward your caregivers their vicarious experience of your happiness. Uh, so you're giving back. It's give back, and when that love flow's going, good, really good for health and helping you to meet human need. Um, but seeing things from different perspectives is something that sometimes it, progress. No, there's no progress. Some little bit of conflict. Your routine, comfort zone, and so you got to break out of that a little bit. But just the attempt to love and get the love flow going does that. You think of something terrible that you're coping with. You just get that love flow going. In fact, trying to focus on things that are really kind of set you back because it raises your defenses, right? And you're defending. You want to make sure the love flows. That's the healing part. That's the part that really helps your mental health. And having a good relationship with your inner artist is extremely important. That inner artist imagines who you are, story, and enjoys it vicariously. So it's always in a place of heaven, of enjoyment, watching your story as a movie, book, reading a book. So that is a beautiful experience, but it's also there has involved a little bit of work, and a little bit of moving out of your comfort, getting in touch with the true progressive inner self in you, part of you that wants to grow, getting in touch with, yeah, and I do mean that politically too. You want progress in society. you want progress in yourself. So love flow is progressive. It is. Seeing things from different perspectives also means that you're open to the perspective of another person, willing to take that into account when you're offering love, receiving it, and kind of understanding from different points of view. That's one practice, and you just imagine things for yourself that make you feel better. Do that. Not, but like exercise, it takes some effort. And yeah, it can move you out of your comfort zone a little bit. So, I mean, like you can over exercise, push too hard. So, yeah, try to expand your points of view. Don't be stuck in one. You're not really being in touch with that wonderful, progressive, willing to grow inner self. And that's important. Now, this isn't the language experience. That's one way. Another way that's really good for your mental health involves subjective, where you stop believing things as you've seen it or you feel it. It's where you can be your own inner skeptic, your own rational influence, and trying to see things objectively. And but how is that love? Well, that's love in terms of guiding your inner progressive self toward a greater objectivity, and that helps a lot with understanding what's going on and forward. Very important. It's rather like the inner child in you, the language child, communicating with your most mature adult, kind of like that. If you're really trying to be a scientist, or a rational mystic is a scientist, you know, because they're the best ones in dealing with anything new and mysterious, and that in dealing with that and learning is part of real growth, and the ability to meet human needs enhanced by that. So the love flow is enhanced, and thank you, scientists, for all of the great things that you brought to us. Be your own inner scientist and talk to self that's dealing. Talk back and forth in a caring. That's another the sixth practice. Another of the language. This is a communication that's involved with compassionate. Now, compassion has the strength of helping people feel safe to express their feelings. So it's kind of like opening up to your feelings in a sense of safety, and that means, well, talking to people. Two things. It is talking to people you care about, talking to people you care for. The love flow. And it's more about the present and what's already happened, getting the riches of that you may have missed because you too stressed out to appreciate the love that may have been offered to you. It also helps you to get in touch with your feelings, your disappointments, and everything. Um, that can all of these things help trigger progress, growth. End of the 6 point practice. So with that, you just said it. You're talking to people you care about or who care about you. You're practicing passion, and you also talk to people who cared about you and didn't. People you should have cared for, and yeah. So that's an attempt to love. Um, so when you practice this love, it's very good. And let's move to the infant mind practice. Before you had language, one of the goals, and is to get in touch with infant self. And the pull and the force of language is extremely difficult to break free from. So one of the approaches there is to be playful with language and yet be emotionally expressive, so that again, practicing love by being coping with feelings of stress or joy can also be stressful. There's good stress and bad stress, okay? And the bad stress needs to cope with it. So when you're coping with it, that's love. With absorbing the positive stress. Okay, that's good too. So you're the practice there is to see it play. Play is what all you're creative. That being playful is something that even a fish, it's yes, your infant mind, your infant self, be at play. Certainly. So, but it's your creative self creates the play. So the infant in you is participant, involved, with playfulness. To get in touch with that, you need to break free from so the good feelings and the bad. What you need to do there, well, there's a practice in yoga, mantra yoga, which is the use of sound. You repeat a phrase over and over again until all the words are meaningless. Wow, that's all meaning. Another more advanced way of doing it to create sounds yourself. And, and be playful with that. You can sing it, you can speak it. And believe it or not, this is one of the helpful things going to cause feel better. Do what they do. They kind of lost in the idea that you're speaking in another. So, but it's a very helpful practice used in music. It's called the gap. English sound. So you ticked all the boxes. So how do you do? You try to be in touch with your feelings, and your feelings will be kind of a guide. How you sing, speak without language. Uh, Interestingly, when you sing like that, then there seems to be a pattern. Finish something noted. And group, it can be a group practice with some guiding instruments. And and how wonderful to be able to sing and you don't have to worry. Let's see. Give you a little example. It's like a rush of endorphin that comes from this. It's really nice. Um, so you can do that, and that's one of the six. Now, another of the infant mind practices, where you have no self concept, is to use, well, in yoga, it's called dhyana. It's meditation. There are all kinds of, but this particular practice is involved with meditating on what you're feeling, focusing. You're basically focusing. Focus is what evolves into objective empathy. It's the ability to focus. You hear that being called to teachers when they're teaching the classes is, are you paying attention? Focus, children. Pay attention to what I'm saying. So, and that's a low blow. Yeah. But please respect experts at every level or stage of education, and they are specialists in each of these areas. Admire them, please. So anyway, this is what would we do without them? They work sometimes very low pay. Come on, society worldwide. But just we don't pay mothers at all. That's not a job. Your progressive self knows that's a job. Valuable. Mm-hmm. All unpaid salary. Probably should. But how would you do that? Aren't a bad thing. It can be a good thing. long as they're fair. What a progressive one. Fair. Benefit a lot. You fail. Not going on in our, not fair, is it? MAGA's thing. They're upset, but they don't cause it. That's that. Yeah. It is a bit of class warfare, which is against the love flow. And yeah, you need to promote the love, stop oppression. Do that by voting. Okay. So anyway, so we've got this approach called in Yoga Dhyana, meditative or focus. Focus on your emotional feeling. There's no sound. This focus. You just benefits of this are amazing because it benefits you in ways that are something like sleep. It gives you a rest from the, you know, tying into the feelings and gives you a rest from the language triggers of that most people to ruminate and give up and over and over and over. Kind of Zen, they call it the monkey mind. Mind just all over. You need to have a rest. Sacred practice is a way of doing that. But focusing on your emotions and sensations that you're having, that's very helpful in another way. It helps the healing process. With there's a pain, part of the healing process is called or way of lessening the pain, but it is involved healing in a good way. You have to ask an it's um there's opportunity to study it. So yeah, that for will it be a graphic example? It's, I would have cycle on. So there's pain it goes here, and it's inflammation. And I found that as I focus on that, that if I'm dogged, then eventually there's a cools to the side. So it takes energy to heal. So if you focus on the part of you that's healing, then you're focusing that energy on where it needs to go, not being told just first focusing. And I've gotten rid of minor headaches, practicing my stress headaches. But there's different kinds of headaches. Stress headaches, yeah. And that's number 5 of in order to this. That's another ways to improve. That's what's certainly not least is something in yoga that's called prana. The use of breath here is again focused on how you feel, and it's about learning to be able to express what you feel, and you want to do it without language, so sounds like ah, ooh, and those particular useful and using yoga all the time. But ah, ooh, mm, very positive. Can be very positive. Help you feel better. And you're expressing. You can express, focus on. I can feel, ah, ooh, mm. Believe it or not, that's helpful. And an expression is what evolves into compassionate empathy. Why? Because compassionate empathy helps to make it safe for someone to express what they feel. And so it helps with expression of feeling. And expression of feeling, of course. And then the need to do that comes first. So it involves later social into the practice of compassion. I'll give you an example of how compassion works. Father said the death of a dear lady friend. So what comforted him the most was not people coming and saying about heaven. You don't have to worry about her, good, and things like that. And what comforted him the most, that is looking, what comforted him most was one lady who felt a lot of compassion on his shoulder like and said, sorry. That gave him permission to feel. And to feel is to heal. Remember that. If you're not feeling, you're not healing. So you want to get in touch with your feelings, which is your inner self. And remember that practicing these things moves you out of your comfort zone into a more expansive zone that is built on your skill in all of these practices. And I told you that I would tell you the pattern of healing that can. You'll see it in your dream. If you're overdoing, if you're over exercising, you will your muscles will be sore. With this practice, if you're overdoing it, the symptoms might be you have a nightmare. If you're having a nightmare, you're pushing yourself. But if you're crying and crying and cry, an important part of healing. So the pattern of spiritual growth and healing is heavy on the healing side, is going and getting in touch with the love, the damaged faith and love you. Times when you needed love and it just wasn't. When you were helpless, express your feelings and your needs. That helplessness was so great, and that it created a kind of learned helplessness, and it was supported by your brain, your imaginable you imagine, jumping in to save you from stress by giving you a symbol of the thing. You're still in touch. This is symbolic feeling, so that that's more achievable. And so this is at the root of a lot of problems in addiction. But and symbolic need is what replaced those needs that you not feel any express, because you at that time you were helpless to do so, and then the helplessness was raising your anxiety too high. And so if you get in touch, once you get in touch with skills in all these areas, once you start to get in touch with those things, then you realize those needs that couldn't feel and express, those feelings, get in touch with those, and you're able to express them. And by expressing them, going on is you're unlearning helplessness around feeling and expressing those needs buried. And then you realize that these things that you now finally expressed, felt and expressed, are losses. Whereas you were guided and controlled by symbolic need that really was a loss. Now you're not. So you're moving from this symbolic stuff which holds you in the past to a state where you realize that original need in its context. You realize, hey, this is the reality, the need that I have. And you realize that it's a loss. It's at the end of the game. The next step is that you need to grieve that loss. It's not enough to do the practices, trauma practices, where you relive. It's to a point there you need to grieve losses, and there are many losses that came about because of symbolic nature or behavior that you've done, which is creating more losses than the losses underneath that. So anyway, you move from feeling to and expressing to realization of loss. And then you grieve that loss and let it go. And that's when you're more able to forgive, understand why people do what they do. Yeah, so you can be more forgiving. A lot of people, they want to force the, you fully grieve the loss on justice system and not lean too much toward to rationally help. But after a while, people can forgive. That's where you hear these stories of people who committed terrible crimes in family embracing that grown and embracing and forgiving. But to forgive doesn't mean that you trust. Forgiveness is important. After the forgiveness, the stronger you are, ability to forgive, the stronger you are to see when you are antisocial, the hurting you hurt other people, and the pain and the loss from that. So the last thing that you can do is remorse. You don't push that first because it's a punishing attitude, counterproductive. You don't push these things out of sequence. You do it forward. That's where you feel this kind of remorse for the things that you've done you didn't even realize. But you also realize that you're not the person who did that. Your tears of true heartfelt. You to be born again to some degree. So a punishing attitude is something you got to look out, because it's doing these things out of sequence and attempts to heal and grow and work that way. You come up with a lot of fake kinds of change. Remember, how good is a person? Remember this question. How good is a person who only does good? Right? No. That should come naturally from your inner progressive self, shouldn't it? As you go through these processes, you truly change. And it's slow, and a lot of people on the outside are, oh, you're such a different person now. A lot of it's your own inner experience. Only you. And so you'll know. People on the outside, you're still the same. They're imagining you the same because that's comfortable. Imagine you're the same, and they're not going to be having into your mind the real change. You alone. So you'll have your own impact. Your gateway, each person has, their own gateway. So one of these practices will heal. Just start with. Use that. And become an expert. Learn that there are different ways to do. Well, perhaps the Buddha said, You can say you have a way. You can't say you have a way. You have the only way. Well, you know. Yeah, but overall, now this is the case I make. The chemistic looks inside. Okay? That's a rational. Understands what's going on. Uh, they don't elaborate so much, go heavy into the pathological perspective, which are valid, but trying to say there's something supernatural going on. Well, if anything were truly supernatural, then there'd be no evidence for it because it doesn't connect with anything natural, right? It's beyond natural. Oh, it's a higher level, and it's still natural. And be able to study it, so find it and then study it. Of concepts out there that float around. It's a feel good kind of. They really, you can't even define it. And so, real spirituality is not about inner growth and helping the love. We do that in a lot of ways, and do that in society too. So I hope this has been helpful to you. If it has, please subscribe to the channel. Become a member of the team in some way if you time. You're already a member and member of the team if you hear the videos. And the more team members we get, society and world, good for everybody. So please subscribe, share, even the slightest, uh, report your experiences. Yeah, this is all come. Me being a dummy, I did ever put all this together. Part of it was, came from I hate to say religious experience, a sense of a very strong sense of the inner voice of that inner art seemed to be involved with things that might be paranormal, but I'm going to talk about it. That's not the point. Put it in. It's not the point. It can be actually a distraction. Practices themselves. Finding the true liberation. And that liberation from suffering, something that it takes a while. you can get to the point where you can be very much at home in the artist. Appreciate the world of this. And all of its horror. Blind. Yeah. So here's wishing you the best. That you will practice and understand that we are trying. I will try to announce give opportunity to create progressive people more in touch with their progressive self. Yeah. So it's not like changing anything too much. Getting in touch with who you really are. Very valuable, beyond value. It is supremely valuable thing. You are a wonder walk, and you're not walking. You're whatever other action you take place. You're wonder thinking, but you are wondrous in any perspective. Try to remember that when talking to people. What sense of wonder? You don't know. The journey to learn about. Try to listen. I like to sing a blessing in my presentations. I don't sing well, but great. And sing it. May the road rise to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face. The rain fall soft upon your field. Till we meet again, may God hold you in the palm or her hand on its hand. And also like to finish with the word namaste, that means that you are honoring the love flow that we all involved in, that in that potential, and, honoring from that perspective, that wonder. So it's when you say it, you receive it the day. And make a great day today. Be the hero of love. Namaste.